All right, good morning, everybody. It's Cowboy. The Gorilla will be joining us shortly. I believe he'll be in for this segment of the YouTube show. If not, he is going to come on for our drips today. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what that is. First of all, this is Algo Factory. Come check us out, www.algofactory.tech. Here's the link right there, as well as QR code. You can zap that to get where you want to go. Come find out about us and who we are, what we do. We help people become traders, and we help people build algorithms to trade. And algorithms are nothing terribly fancy. It's not like you have to know how to do computer coding or any fancy stuff like that. But like I said, we'll talk more about that at the end of the show here. I do want to jump into the content very quickly here. So let me take a look to see if there were any chart requests overnight. I don't see anything, and I know it's going to be a relatively slow day when it comes to what's happening, right? What's happening in the charts, so on and so forth, because in the US today is kind of like a Friday for a several day weekend. Okay. What's up, Jay? Glad to have you on. Yeah, rocking in the free world. You got it. And again, if you are watching this either live or after the fact on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those things. And go ahead and leave a comment. If you leave a comment in the comment section, even if this is not live, even if you're watching this after the fact, it does help out our algorithms, right? So the bigger our audience, the better. Actually, the larger our group, especially those who are in the paid private labs, the more brains we can leverage, right? Because we got people in there that are helping each other out. That's actually a really cool thing. The bigger the crowd, the better. So we want to build our trading army, our algo army, if you will. But like I said, there's going to be not a lot of volatility today. If you're looking at the YouTubes, like yesterday, I put up a short that explained what happened with the trade that I took live during the show, and I was right and I was early, right? So I covered that. Go ahead and take a look at that YouTube short if you want to, and that'll actually give you a clue. Anyway, that'll explain it. Lisa, what's up, Lisa? Thanks for coming on. So what I'll do is, for the moment, go ahead and ask questions. Our group right now is small enough to where if you're not a paid member, I can still pretty easily get to your questions, right? So you can, just ask questions. Hey, I want to see this chart. I want to see that chart. Or if it's not about charts, it's about something else, ask and I can answer. And I have the time to do it, especially on a day like today, where volatility is just in the toilet. So what I'll do first is I will talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to bring up the charts. Okay. And let's simplify some things here. I'm going to zoom in a bit so that all the figures on the right-hand side can be seen. All right. So this is on a daily chart. Okay, so every one of these candles that you see is 1 day's worth of price action. And I caught the short yesterday, and I got knocked out of it. It's just something that happens when you call the right move, but then it pops up to knock you out of it right before actually finishing that move. It happens. And if you're going to, if that does happen, you got to be ready to jump back in the trade. If you know that you're right, and you notice that you just got taken out on what's called like a liquidity grab or a stop run, price runs up to grab your stop loss, and this is just the nature of the game. So during the show yesterday, my algos actually kind of gave me a ping on the screen. One of my notifications went off. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna enter this trade, and I did, and it was a good trade. So let's take a look at the 30-minute standpoint at what happened here. All right, so I got in the trade. Now I was going short, which means I was, betting on the price going down. And I don't have the exact, I erased a lot of stuff, but I think I entered right about here. And I had a stop loss right about there. and I was going to take 2 different targets, and one target was, I think, yeah, down in this area. There was a deeper target as well. So basically the trade looked like this, more or less. And that first target is where that first blue line is. And of course, price went right to it. So I got into this trade, and yeah, this is, let's look at the time of this. Yeah, this is it. And so basically, my stop was in a fine place. Like, nothing wrong with the stop. I guess I could have put it a little higher and I would have stayed in the trade. However, just what'll happen is that the market knows. In fact, we even have the data on something called the kingfisher.io, which is a website that we use to look at where liquidity is. And a lot of people did what I did, and they put their stops up here above this prior structure, which, you know, as you can see, price came down, and then let me use my arrow to illustrate this here. Let's stretch this out a bit. So we use structure when we're considering stop losses, right? And price had come down, and then it bounced up, and then it failed. The swing failed, and it came down. So I went ahead and used that structure as, you know, I put my stop loss above that. I think it was actually a bit higher. And so what ended up happening was, of course, when I did that, a lot of people did that. And if you look at the kingfisher.io, the data for where everybody does that is actually available to everybody, but most people don't know that. Most people don't know that that data is, you know, something that they can use. And you'll have to excuse me while I spin. I'm trying to get some free credits over here at the kingfisher.io. And that's what's cool about Kingfisher. You can look at where that data is, and you could actually spin this wheel to get like free, you know, free credits. And it looks like I keep getting spin again. If I get that again, we'll move on here. Oh, okay, it's just playing with me. All right, so I'm going to get a liquidity map for Bitcoin right now for all leverage. Now, there's high leverage, there's all leverage, there's a lot of data here, but what you can see is just right here in this main area, all these lines right there, they are liquidation points. They're people who have gone short, and they're betting on the price going down. And then their stop losses are right above the price, anywhere from, say, you know, 36,000, basically 37,000, all the way up to 37,300, 36.8 to 37.3. So as it stands right now, in the current market, there are a lot of stops from here to here. There's a lot of like, not a lot, but there's a fair amount of liquidity. So a lot of people right now, as it stands, have gone short. And so what they've done is they think the price is going to head down, and then their stop losses are up here, and there's not a lot of liquidity to the downside compared to the upside. And in the scheme of things, this is not much at all anyway, but it's close to price. So it doesn't take a lot for price to actually head up and grab that. And it probably will by the end of the day. And then that's all leverage. So these are people who are using all different kinds of leverage, low leverage, you know, medium leverage, if you will. Now I can actually go to high leverage, right? And I can take a look at the people who are like crackheads. They're doing 100x trades. They're, hold on a second. They're doing, you know, they're using a lot of leverage. They're augmenting their trade. And when you do that, it's dangerous, right? High leverage, any kind of leverage, you really should kind of do your own research and understand what that means to use leverage, what the dangers are. I mean, you really can quickly lose all of your money if you don't know what you're doing with leverage. And as a matter of fact, with trading, you can lose all your money on trading. Like, you should always do your own research, and we don't even give investment advice here. We actually talk about the nuts and bolts of trading, but we don't say, hey, invest in this. It's not what we do. Point here is that the high leverage trades, people who went short and they augmented their trade a lot, no, they're gonna liquidate really fast if the trade goes in the wrong way. And liquidation means that the exchange is going to get rid of their trade because they just don't have a lot of margin. The margin melts away much more quickly. We're not going to get into a big discussion about margin, but what happens is the higher your leverage, the less of your own money you need to put into a trade. And when you put less of your own money into a trade, it melts away much more quickly because there's just a lot less of your own money in the trade. So high leverage has not a lot of your own money. And you can see here that 36,000, like, so basically 37,000, 36.9. There's a lot between 37 and say 37.3. So that's a hyper It's 37 to 37.3. That's like kind of a hyper area where there's more leverage. So I would venture to guess that price will head up here, and it may do it today. I can tell you that right now the charts do favor a short-term move up. That's for sure. So it's bounced, it's heading up. But back to our story, right? These boxes were up here at the time, and they weren't necessarily there when I entered the trade. But as I did that, those boxes, if you will, that liquidity built up, and they were up in this area, and price went up and grabbed that, and then headed down. Now I was out of the house. I had some personal stuff to handle that day. Otherwise, had I been in the house and I saw this happen, I would have realized, okay, that was a liquidity grab and I can still enter, because this, even without this lower target, this trade is a 2-to-1. So I can actually win this trade, right? And even possibly have a tighter stop. So if I might have entered this trade not quite as a 2-to-1, but I would have lost, like, let's just say I put $100 on the trade, just to throw a number out there. I would have lost 100, but I would have made 150 here, right? Because I might have gotten like a 1.5 to 1. So in the end, I would be ahead on this, right? So that's just what happens. And you know, I might have even had a deeper target or a tighter stop. I might have made more money, but just to keep it simple, I would have entered that trade and ended up winning it probably, right? So we got Jam Man over in the private chat saying good morning Jam Man. Let's see if we have a lot of people watching. Oh yeah, it's a decent crowd today. So like I said, the gorilla should be in any minute, definitely before, well, not definitely, but pretty sure before 7:30, because today is drips day. All right, so just take a break from the charts right now. We're gonna do what's called drips day today. And you know, V the Gorilla, for those of you who don't know, he works on a pretty high level when it comes to like making deals of precious metals and cryptocurrency around the world. I imagine a lot of precious metals these days. And when you work at that level and you work with the kind of people he works with, you get information before a lot of people. And so that's why, in a big way, he's been doing what he's been doing on Rogue News for so long, because basically when you have information and you believe you can help people, then you share that information. Now, he can't share all the information he gets. And there is a hierarchy of places where he will share them. And when it comes to the earliest information and the strongest information, it comes in an Algo Factory first. So if you're looking at Rogue News, you're getting the information, you're getting all or most of it, and you're getting it a little bit later than Algo Factory, like a few weeks later, maybe a few months later, maybe never. But like I say, what happens is he'll come on usually about once a week. He'll have talked with people around the world to find out exactly what's going on, or at least what we think is going on. And his accuracy on the high time frame stuff, his accuracy on what's happening in the world, things like that, that's probably accurate to at least, I've always been, and I've been working with him since 2017. 80% correct, quantifiably, like from a quantifiable standpoint, like the number is about 80% correct, and he's 80% correct about 8% of the time. And that's amazing. That's God level. I mean, when it comes to forecasting events and economic events and geopolitical, that's amazing. So, not everybody is correct all the time. It's just as simple as that, but that's about as close as you're going to get right there. So that's happening in the private lab. I'm going to throw up the QR code in case you are interested. You wouldn't be able to get in today, probably. There's not a very good chance, because we're already, we're full steam ahead in the live show this morning. We're just going to, get off of YouTube and continue on that other path here. So we're not, I'm not going to take a break to let people in. Most likely, if you do sign up, there is an automatic email that comes out. And if you go ahead into your emails, make sure you check your emails if you sign up with Algo Factory, and that's going to give you what you need to know in order to get to our private Telegram group, which is where everything happens in that sense. All right, cool. So I want to open it up again to questions if anybody has a chart they want to see. But this is what happened. That's the whole story from yesterday. And I'm going to go ahead and undo whatever I just did. Okay, I'm going to delete all the drawings. And let's see. Yeah, no worries, Jay. I got you. So yeah, Bitcoin is actually, remember with Bitcoin, things that are event driven can happen. And there's a lot that happened in the news in the last few days with regard to Binance, And price has not been affected so far, even though Binance was, what do you call it? Binance was basically sued. CZ, I believe, pled guilty. If that, I don't know if that's the right term, but he said he circumvented AML KYC laws in the U.S. and Binance has to pay like 4.3 billion. What's interesting about that is that FTX, right? FTX cost the populace about $10 billion, I believe, from their customers. I think an aggregated $10 billion was lost by customers, if I read what I read correctly. Okay. So what in the end that means with Binance, the nuance here is that FTX was started in a big way from an investment from Binance. So Binance owned a bunch of FTT tokens, right? Which is what FTX ran on. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, Jay. Jay, you got Tom Brady, Shaq. You had a bunch of people who were convinced that FTX was going to be the regulated crypto exchange in the U.S. and a lot of people lost. I mean, I think Tom Brady and Giselle, I want to say they lost most of their fortune in that. I don't know that for sure, but I think they lost a ton of money, and a lot of them are actually being pursued legally for advertising for something. I don't know what the rules are exactly, but I think it's something about advertising for a security. Yeah, Jay, I don't know about CZ in a 10-year prison deal. I don't think he's an American citizen. I don't know that they could put him in prison. I think CZ is Chinese, so I don't think a prison deal works with him. I'm hearing a lot of different things. So I'm hearing a lot of weird things, and of course, when these things happen, you hear a lot of weird things. So I'm waiting for the smoke to clear a little bit on the news. If you have an article that's, and by the way, Jay is in our private group talking about this. Jay, if you have an article that says that, feel free to put it in the private chat here so I can look at it and see what that's about. But I don't think CZ is American, so I don't think prison is part of his deal. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a Chinese national, and they don't have any extradition. So if he's here in the U.S., maybe they might arrest him or something. I don't know. But I don't know the deal on that. So long story short, though, the Binance is going to have to pay $4.3 billion, right? And that's part of the fine. He and CZ, as head of Binance, essentially agreed to that. And so $4.3 billion supposedly is going to go towards the fund that is trying to get money back for the customers who lost their money. So that's what I read in an article yesterday. Again, it's all kind of a developing story. So let's see if I can find anything about CZ in prison in the news. Let me see if I can find an article, and then I'll share this screen. It's SEC. All right, as we're talking, prison term, how long sentence will Binance founder face? 4 hours ago. Okay. Oh, not SEC, but DOJ, right? Department of Justice. So I found an article, CCN. I don't even know what CCN is. All right, so we'll see what this says. I mean, it says if, right? But I mean, CZ, I imagine he's still a billionaire even after all this. I doubt he's going to spend any time in prison. That would be very surprising to me. These kind of guys don't go to prison; they just pay fines. After agreeing to a settlement with US DOJ, Binance Changpeng Zhao may face a maximum sentence of 10 years. Sentencing date set for February. Okay, so there's no sentencing. I'm going to guarantee you, I would bet all of my and your money that he'll never see a day in prison. He's they might limit it to 18 months. He's stepping down as Binance CEO, barred from running a business for the next 3 years. He has so much money, I doubt he'll see a day in prison. And again, I think he's a Chinese national. He just has to be in China, So I don't know if they have him here and he's not allowed to leave or any of that. But China doesn't mess around. If Changpeng Zhao wants to leave, I don't think he'll be stopped. Even if he is here, I don't even know if he's here. Yeah, he's Zhao's bail was set at $175 million, so that means he has to come up with $17.5 million. Judge Brian Tsushida allowed Binance founder to return to his home in Dubai on the condition that he returns to US 14 before his scheduled sentencing date. I mean, really, the reality is that if he really is afraid of prison or something, he could just stay in Dubai. I don't think Dubai has extradition. I really doubt Dubai has extradition. Dubai, US extradition. I imagine he could just send his lawyers to handle it and should prevail over national law. There's all extra requirements, less stringent those. Okay, so like an Emirati court rejected Danish extradition request by Sanjay Shah, a British man suspected of masterminding a $17 billion tax scheme. So extradition can be requested by anybody residing in the UAE who has a criminal case against suspect crime committed in the UAE, right? The UAE does not have an extradition treaty with the US, but the US stations some 5,000 troops in the country, and there's a lot of US infrastructure for Navy and military. However, there's no extradition treaty. So if CZ wants to stay out of the US, even though he might be told, okay, if you have to come back to make this deal, dude, he's a gazillionaire. Like, he say, F you, I don't care. I don't need to come to America. Like, so it really all depends on what, what the deal is made in the background. Yeah. So, the sentencing's not even for a few months. There's going to be a lot going on there before we actually say he had a 10-year sentence and there is a deal. Right now, the deal is if he waives his right, where does it say it? He'll waive his right to appeal if the sentence does not exceed 18 months. So he could even limit it to that. But CZ ain't going to see no prison. I'm sorry. The gorilla might disagree, but it really, CZ's probably a billionaire, I imagine. And he might be a quiet billionaire, but he has all kinds of money. That dude, you can see a day in prison. Ray says, yeah, CZ has a same chance to end up in jail, U.S. jail as Trump. Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair. So, by the way, on TradingView, I just renewed my contract with them, and it's a 70% off coupon right now. It's a Black Friday deal. And so I saved myself hundreds of dollars. Because I use the premium on TradingView. And so TradingView Black Friday deal is great. Save hundreds of dollars. So that's really advisable. And look, if you're really into this, you're gonna want the premium. Of course, like right now, the premium is going to be the cost of a much smaller plan. 70% off is huge. And if you're really, really going to do this, then that's the case. JSIS premium is great. Let's look at, okay, our hyper area was 36.9. We'll say actually, yeah, 36.9 to 37.3. Okay. So as the charts favor a move up, 36.9 to 37.3, one could take a trade if they wanted to for a bit of a long here. I don't know that I'm going to necessarily. I gotta really consult the algos, but one could do something like this if they wanted to, possibly. Again, I have to look at the algos to make sure this is legit, but I'd consider a trade like that. Right now, it's a nice 2-to-1. Stop below recent structure. Let's see what the algo says. Okay, that's the 30. Risky. I would cut some of the risk off and make this more of a risky type trade. Let's look at the low time frame for the breakout. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a legit trade. I might just enter this real quick on a small amount of money and really tighten up the risk on this. A little bit of a double bottom right there. 36,405. Let me go to my trade station. Give me a second. I'm gonna take a small risk on this right now and head up to 37.3. All right, so I'm gonna buy. Stop loss at this is a little gamble because it's a very illiquid market. It's very quiet right now. So there's a good chance that this stops out. So I'm just going to put like pocket change on this trade. Just a quick little deal based on a decent amount of data here. Especially we're based on a double bottom. This is like a nice 2-to-1 here. Okay, trade is on. My actual fill price is 36,620. Okay. And okay. To have my take profit here. It is in play. Trade's already in a very slight amount of profit. Okay, good to go. I'm going to set my alarms. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's super illiquid. So when you have illiquid conditions, price can actually swing against you really fast. You know, now there's not the last read I had on the liquidity charts was that there were not a bunch of stop losses below price, and the charts favor a move up. So this really, from a technical standpoint, is a great trade. But we do have, you know, a very illiquid sort of Friday, but Friday before a weekend, but Friday before long weekend conditions, right? So we'll see what happens with this. I'll be watching this diligently. Let me see if I can set a algorithmic exit trade here. I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, I don't think it will, but I'll just set one here. All right. Okay. So, just a little pre-holiday trade for y'all. Okay, good. We're at the end of the show here. Remember, over at Algo Factory, what we do is we work with all levels of traders, right? So even if you're just a beginner trader, or if you are somebody who has a lot of experience, what we do is we help you to learn how to build a system that is going to allow you, right, to, even if you want to, you can automate this, right? So we'll put you on the road to being able to automate these systems. And it just, psychologically, you're going to have a better chance of winning if you build your own trading system, otherwise known as an algorithm. And the vast majority of people, they trade old school. They just trade, you know, as one would trade. They just have their manual way of doing things, and that's fine. You know, you got a 9 to 5. You can do some swing trading, trades that last like a few days. It's not like you need to be there to constantly check up on your trade. A lot of people do trade from their phone. It's not something I personally do, but you can do that. And if you have a kind of job that allows you to do that, but under any circumstance, Algo Factory does give you the nuts and the bolts of trading itself. We do have our community is probably our best asset. We have a lot of people, well over 100 people in there, who will be able to also help you and answer your questions and stuff like that. And we have people who they're building algos now. I think one of our guys has deployed like a few different algos, forward testing, all back tested. You know, so we got people who are making a lot of progress, and at some point we're going to want to go ahead and bring them on, maybe even do like a show with them so they can talk about their progress and so on and so forth. And just in time to kick us off into the private chat, we have the Gorilla. Gorilla, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Cowboy. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. We were just finishing up the live show.
I love it. Look, we're about to go into the private lab. We're about to get some drips on. We're about to have some fun. We're about to get some real detailed breakdown on a lot of things. So listen, guys, don't sit on the sidelines. Just come join us. Give me 6 months of your life and allow us to make you into the image of a badass. That's all I got to say, Cowboy.
I love it. I love it. Let me throw up QR code one last time.
Don't
zap
throw
that.
Up, man. Please.
And then you got zap that, and you got the what do you call it? You have the website right there, algofactory.tech. All right, man, take us out of here.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us again. Get in that, flash that QR code. Look, man, I can't tell you enough, folks. Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't letting money pass you by. Be part of the only thing that is going to allow you to make a positive net income from working anywhere in the world. You be the boss. You be the boss. With that being said, let's get into it, cowboy.